Hello, is it better now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will start with the continuation of our discussion on canonical correlation analysis. I hope by now you know at least the concept, what is exactly expected in canonical correlation analysis. Today we'll start with the derivation. Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we discussed yesterday that canonical correlation is a generalization of multiple correlation. So let me start by writing down the notations so we can now derive the actual formulae. So let x p cross 1 and y k cross 1 be two random vectors. Okay. Let sigma xx be variance of x, then sigma yy be variance of y, and sigma xy be covariance between x and y. So what would be the orders of these matrices? Sigma xx would be what would be the order of sigma xx?
P cross P.
P cross P. Sigma yy would be k cross k. Sigma xy would be P cross k. And you can also define sigma yx, which would actually be transpose of sigma xy, and it would be covariance of yx. Okay, so it would be k cross P. These are the matrices we are going to need. And what we want to do is, so let alpha be any p dimensional vector, beta be any k dimensional vector. Our aim is to find alpha and beta satisfying of course these conditions such that correlation between alpha prime x and beta prime y is maximized, right? Choose alpha and beta in such a way that correlation between alpha prime x and beta prime y is maximum. Is it okay? This is our aim. So what would be correlation between alpha prime x and beta prime y? What will be the formula for correlation between alpha prime x and beta prime y? How do you define correlation in general in univariate terms? Because anyway alpha prime x is a univariate quantity, beta prime y is a univariate quantity. So correlation will be covariance between them
Standard deviation
divided by standard deviation. So let me write square root of variance of alpha prime x and variance of beta prime y. Okay. Okay, so this is V and this is R. I hope they're different. I mean, you can spot the difference. Okay. So what will be formula for covariance of alpha prime x? Sorry, covariance of alpha prime x comma beta prime y. What would be the formula?
ma'am. It's alpha prime covariance of xy and beta into beta.
Okay, does everyone agree with this? Alpha prime covariance xy beta. So by our notations it would be alpha prime sigma xy beta. First check, do the orders match? So alpha is p cross 1. So alpha prime will be 1 cross p. This is p cross k, k cross 1. So okay, order wise it is fine. They are compatible and the final answer you get is 1 cross 1, which is what is expected. Okay. Does everyone agree with this formula? if you can't we must have done this in the first week of our lectures. Otherwise you can just write down the formula. Covariance of any two vectors is expectation of that vector minus its mean into the second vector minus its mean whole prime. Okay, you will reach the same place. So this is covariance. And what is variance of alpha prime x? Variance of alpha prime x will be alpha prime sigma x alpha, correct? Variance of beta prime y would be beta prime sigma y beta. Is it okay? Now we have to choose alpha beta in such a way that correlation is maximized. Correlation is a ratio of these two quantities. So if I want to increase the ratio, ideally I should increase the numerator and I should decrease the denominator. Correct? Then the ratio will be maximized. But here the problem is alpha and beta are present both in numerator and denominator. Okay. So if I try to increase alpha in order to increase numerator, I know this terminology, increasing alpha doesn't make sense because alpha is a vector. But basically if I want to increase say components of alpha so that the numerator is increased, then that would affect the denominator also because alpha is present in the denominator. So overall, maximizing the ratio is when same quantity is present in both numerator and denominator is difficult because that quantity is going to pull your ratio in both the directions. Okay. So what we'll do is, for the sake of mathematical derivation, we will put conditions or constraints on alpha and beta. Why do we need these constraints? Because numerator and denominator of any ratio behave differently. Increase in numerator would increase the ratio, whereas decrease in numerator would decrease in denominator would also increase the ratio. So you can't simultaneously increase numerator, denominator and at the same time expect the ratio to get increased. Okay, because the directions are opposite. So what we'll do is, what we can control, if we can put, have you come across a similar situation where you try to minimize say two things which are moving in direction opposite to each other? Not necessarily in maximization terms like this, in general in statistics, maybe in BSc. Have you ever tried to minimize two things which were moving in directions opposite to each other?
In the type 1 error and type 2 error?
Exactly, correct. So type 1 error and type 2 error are opposite to each other. So if you try to decrease type 1 error, type 2 error would increase and other way around. So what solution do we propose then? Finally, what solution did your teachers propose or did your textbooks propose?
We fixed one error and decide about other.
Okay, so we give an upper bound to type 1 error. We say that we will not allow type 1 error to go beyond 5%, correct? And then we'll try to minimize type 2 error as far as possible. Okay, by keeping this constraint. So we are going to do something similar here. We will put constraint on denominator because denominator has variance, so we can put constraints easily. So what would be the constraints? Variance of alpha prime x should be 1 and variance of beta prime y should be 1. This is a very routine constraint. What we are saying is our linear combinations should be standardized, correct? Or scaled. that is the linear combinations should be scaled. Their variance should be 1. So if we put this constraint, then what happens to my correlation? My denominator automatically becomes 1. Because of this constraint, this would automatically become 1. So maximizing correlation is nothing but maximizing covariance. Is it okay? Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So now let us formulate our problem that way so that it's easier for us. So our aim is to
Ma'am, can you
maximize.
scroll a bit up?
Sorry?
Can you scroll a bit up?
Okay, let me do that. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So maximize. I want to maximize the numerator only now because denominator I am anyway going to fix to 1. So numerator is covariance, which is this alpha prime sigma xy b beta. Okay. So let me write. Our aim is to maximize alpha prime sigma xy beta subject to these constraint. Subject to constraint that variance of alpha prime x should be 1, that is alpha prime sigma xx alpha should be 1 and beta prime sigma yy beta should be 1. Is it okay? Our aim is to choose alpha and beta in such a way that alpha prime sigma xy beta is maximized subject to these two constraints. Alpha prime sigma xx alpha should be 1, beta prime sigma yy beta should be 1. Okay. So how do you do maximization? Under constraints, you use which method?
Lagrange multiplier.
Lagrange's multiplier. That's what we did in PCA, correct? So we use Lagrange's multiplier. So let me write down the function. So the function becomes alpha prime sigma xy beta, and I need to worry about the constraints. So, and constraints you express as left hand side equal to 0. So I need to shift my ones to left side. So the constraints would be lambda by 2, let me write just for convenience. Alpha prime sigma xx alpha minus 1, this is first constraint. Then gamma by 2 is the second constraint. Beta prime sigma yy beta minus 1. Okay, so this is my objective function for the Lagrange's multiplier method. Okay, so what would be our next step?
Differentiate function with respect to alpha.
Correct. May I know who was talking?
Akash Kadam.
Okay. So we need to differentiate with respect to alpha as well as beta because both are unknown. We need to decide both of them. And I hope by now you are comfortable with matrix derivatives under matrices. So di by f by di by alpha will be what? Sigma xy beta minus lambda by 2, derivative of this will be 2 times sigma xx alpha minus 1, and the third term won't contribute. Am I correct, or is there any mistake in the derivation?
I think that minus 1 minus 1 should not be.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Yeah. Minus 1 won't be there. You're right. Minus 1 won't be there because I'm taking derivative, so this would go. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Similarly, I will have derivative with respect to beta. How do I do this now?
Ma'am, it will be alpha dash sigma xy.
Is it? Is it? Just check. See, we have to always worry about the orders also. We are differentiating with respect to a matrix or a vector. Second term I can write similarly. No worries there. Because there is no change. Correct? So now check the orders. Sigma xx alpha. This is p cross p and p cross 1. So overall order is p cross 1. And here p cross p and p cross 1. Correct? So overall order, no. P cross k and k cross 1. So overall order is again p cross 1. So no problem in this. But if I listen to you and if I write here alpha prime sigma xy, what would be my orders? This is k cross k, k cross 1, so overall k cross 1. Whereas this will be 1 cross p, p cross k, so this will be 1 cross k. And I can't subtract a k cross 1 thing from a 1 cross k thing. Getting the problem?
Yes. There is sigma yx alpha.
Okay. Is it Akash again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why sigma yx alpha? So one suggestion is sigma yx alpha. What is your thought process? Let me know. Even if it is guess, let me know your thought process.
Yes, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, why did you guess this and not something else?
After that dimension is same.
After that dimension is matching. Okay. Good way to think. Fine. See, what I'll do is, so this is a problem. And in fact, if you refer to your Montgomery's book on regression, in the appendix, I think they have discussed the differentiation with respect to vector, differentiation with respect to a matrix, etc. So you can see that differentiating with respect to alpha in this setup is easy. You just get the remaining part. But differentiating with respect to a vector when it is being post multiplied, when it is a post multiplier, is not easy. So what we'll do is, we will try to convert things into what we know. So I used to always tell my real analysis student that, I agree that many of you feel that mathematics is difficult. But even if you don't know anything, what you should do is just list down what all you have and what you want. You should be able to find a way to connect it. So same thing here. So if beta had been here in the pre-multiplication position, then I know how to differentiate. So can I bring beta to pre-multiplication position without affecting my results much? So how will I do that? My alpha prime sigma xy beta, what is the order? Alpha is 1 cross p, this is p cross k, this is k cross 1. So overall it's a scalar 1 cross 1. So if it's a scalar, then I can take its transpose and the value won't change, because transpose of a scalar would be the same number. So what I can do is, instead of this, I can write the same f as beta prime sigma xy transpose, that is sigma yx alpha, and remaining two terms remain as they were. I am not changing anything because this is just transpose of this quantity and both these are scalars, so they are basically the same even when you take transpose. And now I know how to differentiate with respect to beta, because now if I differentiate with respect to beta, I will be left with this, which is a sensible combination. Okay, so this is not correct. What I should have is this, sigma yx alpha. Okay, everyone okay with this?
Yes, sir.
And then differentiating with respect to constraints is not a big deal. You will get the constraints back. Okay, so you will get this is anyway nothing, so you will just get alpha prime sigma xx alpha minus 1 and dabba by dabba gamma as beta prime sigma yy beta minus 1. Okay,
And there is divided 2 also.
divide by 2 is there, yes, divide by 2 is there, so I can write this as 1 by 2. Anyway, finally I have to equate it to 0, so it won't matter. Here I can cancel 2 in both the places. In fact, that's why I brought in 2, so that you know it can be cancelled. So now I have to equate all these things to 0. So equating these 4 things to 0, what do I get? I get sigma xy beta equal to lambda times sigma xx alpha, or let me write in terms of equation itself. So sigma xy beta minus lambda times sigma xx alpha equal to 0. That is my first equation. Am I right? Next equation, if I equate it to 0, I will get sigma yx alpha, correct, sigma yx alpha minus gamma sigma yy beta. Sigma yx alpha minus gamma sigma yy beta equal to 0. Can we try to simplify, can we try to solve these equations? Either for alpha beta or for gamma lambda, because gamma lambda are also unknown. So what I do, generally when you want to solve simultaneous equations, what do? You try to match the coefficients, correct? So here coefficient of alpha is sigma yx, coefficient of beta is this. So we need to match one of these coefficients. Let me try to eliminate beta. So what do I mean by that? Let me try to make this coefficient equal to this. Now directly it is not possible and I have to be very careful because we are dealing with matrix multiplication. So what should I do? Maybe if I multiply this by 1 by gamma, then gamma is gone. For sigma yy, I will need to bring in sigma yy inverse somehow, correct? And I need to have sigma xy also, because finally I need sigma xy in picture. So maybe something like this, sigma xy, sigma yy inverse, and then 1 by gamma. Is it okay? First of all, is this quantity matrix multiplication wise, are these guys compatible? Yes? Are you following what I am trying to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me multiply this, let me call this equation 1, equation 2. Let me multiply second equation by this quantity and see what happens. So I'll have 1 by gamma sigma xy sigma yy inverse sigma yx alpha minus gamma will get cancelled. Sigma xy, sigma yy inverse, sigma yy would become identity. So sigma xy beta equal to 0. So what I am doing? Pre-multiplying equation 2 by this quantity. Okay. And now I have sigma xy beta, sigma xy beta. So if I add 1 and 3, then what do I get? Then I get something simplified. If I add 1 and 3, sigma xy beta would get cancelled. So I'll be left with 1 by gamma sigma xy sigma yy inverse sigma yx alpha minus lambda sigma xx alpha equal to 0. Minus lambda sigma xx alpha equal to 0. So I have, if I take alpha common, I have 1 by gamma sigma xy sigma yy inverse sigma yx minus lambda sigma xx equal to 0. Sorry, of course I have to have alpha there. Alpha equal to 0. Okay so far? Okay so far?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have now some homework for you. Try to find relationship between gamma and lambda using the same equations that we have listed in this screen. In this screen means throughout this lecture. Try to find relationship between gamma and lambda. Okay, because we have both of them in this equation. So if I want to solve for alpha, I need to know values of gamma and lambda. Okay. So let me stop here today. Tomorrow also mostly I will have live lecture. Okay. I'll confirm in the morning. Is it okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay then. Let us stop. Thank you.